Hello everyone, this is Bobby Warren with playingwithpizza.com. Today we're making Beau Jo's Colorado Mountain Pie and Prairie Pie. We're starting off with 680 grams or 24 ounces of high protein flour. I'm using Primo Gusto here, but you can also use All Trumps or Bouncer. And I really like all of these flours. They're great for making pizza. Next, we're going to add 10 grams or 1 3/4 teaspoons of kosher salt. And that's going to be followed by 7 grams or 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, which is 1 package of yeast. I used way too much. The recipe calls for a lot of yeast. Don't use as much as you see me doing here. Follow the instructions. Next, we're going to add 34 grams or 2 1/2 teaspoons of olive oil. Yeah, I'm precise. And finally, we got some Beau Jo's honey, 62 grams or 2 1/4 teaspoons of honey. Again, you see how precise I am with my measurements. Yeah, right. And that's one of the things that is kind of distinctive about Beau Jo's crust is that they use honey. Now we're adding 382 grams or 13 1/2 ounces of water. This, let's see, what kind of hydration is that? 56.2% hydration. So it's a low moisture dough. Now they put black pepper, 1.4 grams or just 1/4 teaspoon. And you can knead this in a stand mixer or by hand for 10 minutes. Now, Beau Jo's doesn't do a bulk fermentation or overnight fermentation. You know, they get 15 minutes out of when they need dough and they're making a fresh batch. Here I'm greasing a couple of pans. Now, Beau Jo's runs its dough through a sheeter, which is, think of it as a large pasta machine. And I don't have that, so I'm going to flour the counter. I'm going to use a rolling pin. Divide your dough in 2 pieces. One you want larger than the other for the mountain pie. And again, Beau Jo's will run the dough through a sheeter and then cut circles around the pan. But we don't have a sheeter, so we're going to form them into circles. Now here I am working on the mountain pie. We're going to do a mountain pie, which is a braided crust, and we're going to do a prairie pie, which is their version of a thin crust, which is similar to Pizza Hut's thin and crispy crust. Here, because there's not a lot of moisture, the dough is only rested for about 15-20 minutes. And it's hard working with this dough, so I'm going to have to bust out the rolling pin. You see, it's hard to get a nice circle. In Italy we'll call that pizza rustica. So any pizza that's not circular, just all kind of weird shapes, just call it pizza rustica. And here I am with the rolling pin, hand stretching, trying to get a circle. Now it wasn't big enough, so I put it on, and now I'm going to braid this, or going to stretch it out some more, trying to get it thinner. Now I'm going to stretch it out some more, and now I'm going to braid this bad boy. My problem was I didn't watch the video to see how they braided at Beau Jo's. Look at that's a terrible mess. Scrap it. It's going to the side. Next! Okay, let's work on the prairie pie first. If you're going to do this, watch Beau Jo's videos on how to braid a mountain pie. I'll leave a link to my other one. So same process with the prairie pie. I'm going to roll it out, a little hand stretching, and throw it in my greased pan. And right now you can see there's a little too much dough. There's the recipe for the sauce. They use a prepared sauce, and just like with their dough, they put honey in their sauce. I did not try to replicate Beau Jo's sauce. I just tried to make a prepared pizza sauce, and their sauce is very smooth, so and they have it prepared for them. So I don't know if they're using a puree or a tomato paste, but a tomato paste will make a quick sauce. So that's what I used. And again, I'm not trying to replicate Beau Jo's sauce. I get sauce on the bottom of this pizza, and now it's time for the cheese. I'm using a blend of mozzarella and provolone. And I ran this through my food processor, and it just came out too finely shredded for me. I really didn't like it. So it's either going to be slices or hand shredded next time. So, and Beau Jo's uses a lot of cheese. Now comes the pepperoni. We're going to make a pepperoni bacon, which is kind of the combination my wife and I like. I'm straight cheese. She doesn't like, that's not her favorite. So if we're going to order one pizza, it's going to be pepperoni and bacon. Now, I had some leftover bacon bits that I bought from the store, so that's what we're using. And that's that. Now it's going to go in a preheated oven at 480 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 to 9 minutes. All right, it comes out, and that's what it looks like. I throw it back on the bottom of the oven to get the bottom a little bit crisp. It went straight on a baking steel. Now, here we go, mountain pie part 2. So again, it's been rested. The dough is easy to work with. So maybe, shape your dough into balls, let them rest for 30 minutes or so. And you can see this is just so much easier to work with. Now, here we go. You cut a slit in the dough, you fold up one area, and just kind of fold and tuck. Well, not really tuck, but just fold over. And this is a lot better than the first one. And I had to go back and watch the video. I thought it'd be easy to do, and it's not. I don't bake pies. I don't know how they make pie shells. I'm not sure this is how they do it. But if you bake pies and you're like, oh yeah, we do this, then it's probably be easy for you. And so it doesn't look like a lot of dough right there, but wait until this bad boy cooks. Oh my. But there it is. There is the beginning of the mountain pie, the braided crust. Next, same thing we did with the other prairie pie. Sauce, cheese, pepperoni, bacon goes in the oven, 480 degrees, 8 to 9 minutes. And like I did with the other pie, I took it out. Look at that crust. Look at that crust, which is funny. That's a lot of crust. Now I'm going to take this out of this pan. Now that pan is like a barbecue to grill veggies on a barbecue, but it was nice sloped edge, similar to what they use at Beau Jo's, but that's where that pan comes from. So I want to cook the bottom a little bit more, and so I slide it right back on my pizza steel, baking steel, just for a couple more minutes. We take it out, and there's the finished mountain pie. And again, look at that crust. All right, so now the pies are made. It's taste time, people. All right, I tried my hand at a Beau Jo's Prairie Pie. Had a little bit too much dough in the pan. As you can see, it's kind of a big crust. Let's see how it tastes. Finally. All right, so this is pepperoni bacon. It's not very crisp, a little chewy. I rolled it out with a rolling pin. It's interesting. Not as good as Beau Jo's, but that's the Prairie Pie. Coming up next, we're going to try the mountain pie.
Ooh, hot! Losing all my cheese. It's not gonna be pretty. All right, so here we go. We're gonna eat mountain pie now. That's a little bit more done than I like it. It's hot, like the other one. Nice and cheesy. And Bobby wants me to try with honey on it, which we got. Honey, got that from Beau Jo's. Direct from Beau Jo's. Traveled on the airplane with us and the checked luggage. I wrapped it up in a couple bags and stuff to make sure it didn't explode, which was probably good because when I got home it had leaked a little. Like I said before, you can't go wrong with honey. It's not as crispy as Beau Jo's, but I don't imagine our ovens go as hot as Beau Jo's either, but it's pretty good. For at-home pizza. You know, I'm more of a deep dish kind of girl, so this is right up my alley. Still thin. Again, it's not probably as thin as Beau Jo's or as crunchy, but that's not a bad thing for me. Well, there you go. There's the pizza review.
There you have it. My attempt to replicate Beau Jo's mountain pie and prairie pie. And I tell you what, I did okay, not great. But however, if you want a mountain pie and a prairie pie, go ahead and try this. Like I said, use less yeast. If you find the recipe on the internet, which I followed, use less yeast. But what I would recommend is if you're in Colorado, find a Beau Jo's. It's pretty good. Thanks for watching. And I hope you'll like and subscribe this video, because every time you like it, every time you subscribe to it, and every time you comment, it sends a signal to YouTube that, hey, this video is pretty good and others should see it too. So thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you next time on Playing with Pizza.